What your body actually looks like to an insect is where everything the repellent industry sells you falls apart. A mosquito doesn't just randomly land on you. It hunts you down through a four-stage targeting system that starts from 164 feet away. That's 50 meters, half a football field. The first thing a mosquito locks onto is the carbon dioxide streaming out of your lungs every time you exhale. Specialized neurons in its mouth organs detect your breath plume, and it starts flying upwind toward the source. A 2014 study published in the journal Cell confirmed this. Carbon dioxide is the activation trigger. Without it, a mosquito won't even notice you exist. But once that trigger fires, stage 2 kicks in. The mosquito starts using its eyes. It tracks dark-colored objects against the background. That's why people wearing black get bitten more than people wearing white. Then from about 2 feet away, stage 3 takes over. A 2024 study published in Nature found that mosquitoes detect infrared radiation from your body heat. Your skin glows like a beacon in their sensory world. The heat signature alone doubled their hunting behavior. And finally, within arm's reach, your skin bacteria and lactic acid from your sweat seal the deal. The mosquito lands and feeds. Now here's what makes this important. Every chemical repellent you've ever bought only blocks one stage of this system. Just one. The chemical called diethyl metatoluamide, which the industry calls by its short name, works by confusing the mosquito's sense of smell. It scrambles the signal from your skin odors so the insect can't complete the final targeting stage, but the carbon dioxide detection still works. The visual tracking still works. The infrared heat sensing still works. 3 out of 4 stages are completely untouched. The United States Army developed this chemical back in 1946. They registered it for public use in 1957. And for almost 70 years, the repellent industry has been selling you the same basic formula in a newer can at a higher price. The science hasn't changed. The markup has. And here's the part they don't print on the label. This chemical evaporates off your skin at a rate of almost 10% per hour. In hot weather, every 10 degrees Celsius jump in temperature cuts your protection time in half. So that 6-hour protection claim on the can becomes 3 hours on a warm day and 90 minutes on a genuinely hot one. You're reapplying constantly. You're spending $45 to $100 every summer, and you're only blocking 1 out of 4 attack vectors. The repellent industry generates $5.5 billion a year in revenue. That's billion with a B. Nearly 200 million Americans buy insect repellent every single year, and every one of them is buying a product that starts disappearing the moment it touches their skin. Think about that for a second. How much money have you spent on bug spray in your lifetime? Most people guess a couple hundred. The real number for an average American family over 20 years is somewhere between $900 and $2,000. And every single dollar of it bought you a chemical that evaporates in hours and only blocks smell. But what the pesticide industry figured out 66 years ago completely changes the equation. And the reason you've never heard of it tells you everything you need to know about how that industry works. What the industry calls the desiccation effect is the most elegant insect-killing mechanism ever discovered. In 1960, the Environmental Protection Agency registered a powder made from fossilized diatoms. Diatoms are microscopic single-celled algae that lived in ancient oceans and lakes. When they died, their shells made of amorphous silica settled on the bottom and compressed into rock over millions of years. Crush that rock into powder, and you get something extraordinary. Under a microscope, each grain looks like a piece of broken glass. Razor-sharp edges everywhere. But to your finger, it just feels like flour. When an insect walks through this powder, 2 things happen simultaneously. This is what is known as the shred and drain cycle. First, the microscopic edges physically cut through the waxy outer layer of the insect's exoskeleton. This waxy coating is called the cuticle, and it's the only thing preventing the insect from losing all its body moisture to the air. Think of it as their waterproof jacket. Without it, they're naked in a desert. The powder shreds it on contact. Second, the silica particles actively absorb the oils and fats from the damaged cuticle. They don't just cut the jacket open, they pull the waterproofing material right out of it. This triggers what entomologists call catastrophic desiccation. The insect loses moisture through every micro wound and can't stop the bleeding. Imagine slashing open a water balloon in 100 tiny places and then covering each hole with a sponge. That's what's happening at a microscopic level on the insect's body. A cockroach dies within 3 to 7 days, fleas within 24 to 72 hours, ants within 48 hours. And here's the part that makes this superior to every chemical pesticide ever invented. Insects cannot develop resistance to it. A 2021 review published in the journal Molecules confirmed this. Chemical pesticides trigger genetic adaptation. After enough generations, the poison stops working. That's why you keep needing stronger and stronger formulations. But you can't genetically adapt to being physically shredded. The killing mechanism is mechanical, not chemical. It works on the first generation, and it works on the 1000th generation. And the powder doesn't evaporate. It doesn't break down. Indoors, it remains lethal for months without reapplication. As long as it stays dry, it never stops killing. Here's what most people don't realize. How many insect species does this single powder work against? If you guessed a dozen, you're not even close. It kills bedbugs, cockroaches, fleas, ticks, spiders, ants, silverfish, earwigs, centipedes, aphids, caterpillars, mites, and stored grain beetles. Over 150 registered products use it as their active ingredient. The Food and Drug Administration lists the food-grade version as generally recognized as safe. You can literally eat it. Up to 2% of it can be added to food as an anti-caking agent. It's used in animal feed. It's used to filter wine and beer. A 10-pound bag costs about $20 and lasts an entire season or longer. Compare that to the $45 to $100 you spend every summer on chemical sprays that wear off in hours. The perimeter shield method is where the physics turns into a practical fortress around your home. Instead of spraying chemicals on your body that evaporate before dinner, you build a permanent kill zone that insects have to cross to reach you. The concept is simple. Diatomaceous earth creates a physical barrier that works 24 hours a day without reapplication. Dust a thin line along your baseboards, window frames, door thresholds, and any crack or crevice where insects enter. Every crawling insect that crosses that line is dead, not repelled, not confused, dead. The cuticle gets shredded, the oils get absorbed, dehydration begins, and there's no survival mechanism that can stop it. For outdoor use, you apply it around your foundation, along garden borders, and around any standing structure where insects congregate. You can even dust it directly onto plants because the food-grade version won't harm your vegetables or your soil. The only rule is moisture. Rain dissolves the powder's effectiveness, so outdoor applications need refreshing after heavy storms. But indoors in dry conditions, one application lasts months. Some people report their indoor barriers still killing insects 6 months after a single application. The powder doesn't degrade. It doesn't lose potency. It just sits there waiting. The same $20 bag that handles your indoor perimeter also handles your garden, your chicken coop, your pet bedding, and your food storage areas. Professional pest control averages $2,300 per treatment. This powder does the same job for less than the price of a fast food meal. The United States military already knows this principle works. Every single combat uniform in the American Armed Forces is factory treated with permethrin, a chemical that kills insects on contact through their nervous system rather than repelling them. A Department of Defense study confirmed that killing insects on contact is more effective than repelling them from your skin. The military doesn't hand soldiers a can of bug spray. They build a kill zone into the fabric itself. Diatomaceous earth does the same thing to your entire home, except it costs $1 per room instead of hundreds per uniform. And unlike permethrin, it never washes out because it's not a chemical coating. It's a physical mineral that sits in place and shreds anything that walks through it. So let's put the full picture together. You've got a 4-stage insect targeting system that chemical repellents can only block at 1 stage. You've got the shred and drain cycle that kills mechanically with 0 chance of resistance. And you've got a perimeter shield that turns your entire home into a no-fly zone for pennies. The next time someone tries to sell you a $10 can of spray that blocks 1 insect sense for a few hours, remember what a $1 powder does instead. It destroys the one thing every insect on Earth needs to survive, the waterproof layer that keeps moisture inside their body. No resistance, no reapplication, no expiration date. The insect repellent industry moves $5.5 billion a year selling you temporary fixes to a problem that a fossilized algae powder solves permanently. And they've known this since 1960. If you think a $1 powder replacing your bug spray sounds unbelievable, wait until you see what a $7 powder does to your $3,000 air conditioning unit. The physics behind it are even more devastating. That video's right here. If this story changed the way you look at the ancient fossils hidden in plain sight, please subscribe and like the channel. We are digging up the history and the solutions that the industry has tried to bury. Let's build a more informed future together. The next breakthrough is coming soon.